All right, we're ready to go. So I wanted us to introduce yourselves first and then lesson. So who would like to start?
I can go first. Let me just get that list. Sorry. My name is Megan Rust, and I'm currently living in Logan, Utah, where I'm doing online classes. My favorite thing about this course, I love that there is a course about like how we can really help people change their behaviors. That it's more like there's more to it than just like seeing what's right and wrong and like forcing people to do it, but like that there's techniques and skills that we can have as health educators to help other people like gain understanding of what they can do to help themselves, like to foster that self-reliance. So, and that just makes it seem like it's more efforts on their part and just a better experience. So I guess my career goals with that. So I have a little 9-month-old girl. But ultimately, I'd love to be like a health coach, but my husband is studying Arabic and Islamic studies, and he himself working in the Middle East, that part of the world. And I would also like to, I guess, team up with him in that way and help just be able to educate populations that don't have the same resources that we have, and just help them know about like preventable diseases and maternal health and stuff like that. So that's me.
Awesome, thank you.
I can go next. And sorry, I'm not feeling super well, so my voice is a little funny. But my name's Jake Avenius. I'm originally from New York, but I've been living in Rexburg for about 10 years now. Or Rexburg, Idaho. I guess what I like about this class is just kind of makes me think a little bit more deeper about people's motivations, and that's always nice to ponder about. So you have more of a correct perspective, and you're not quite as quick to judge and to analyze, I guess, more correctly people's behaviors. But my career goals, I'm graduating this semester, so I've been applying to a lot of different places like crazy. I imagine myself getting into health management, but eventually I'll probably end up owning my own business of some sort. So that's just that's me.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Then, okay. My name is Millicent Tando from Ghana. By now, I'm living in Accra, and that's where I started the pathway programming now on BYU. My favorite part about the course is that it really helps us shape our behaviors when it comes to health matters. And we know that experience is the best teacher. And as I'm majoring in health education and promotion, I think this course is really going to help me change me about certain behaviors that I have towards health issues. And I can also use that experience to also teach my target populations about the need to live a healthy life, and also help me come up with good interventions to help my target populations to solve their health problems. And I also have the goal of setting up my own business, and I've taken other certificate courses, and I think they are also going to help me, give me the skills and knowledge to set up my own business. Aside my interest of becoming a health educator and promoter to help my community and my country to live a healthy life. Yeah.
Thank you. My name
All
is.
right.
Go ahead, Jared.
My name is Jared Eaton. I grew up in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I'm now living just outside of Rexburg, Idaho, with my wife and 2 kids. I think what I've enjoyed most about this class is just kind of getting to understand like with the interventions and with self promotion, just knowing how to do it. It's been a new thing to me, getting to know how to do it. And really, I don't know what I'm going to do in this career. This wasn't the plan as of like 2 semesters ago. And so right now, my career goal is to get to know what I can do with this major and stuff like that. But I love people. I love getting to know people. I love helping people, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've chosen this path. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with myself, sadly.
I think that's normal.
Yeah, that's But the desire's there to help people, so I think that's what's important.
My name's Savannah Thacker. So I originally grew up in Texas, but I'm up here in Rexburg right now. I have 2 more semesters left, so I'm excited. I won't be joining you guys next weekend because I'm getting married on Saturday.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So I will send you guys the notes and my thoughts for next week's. But so far I've really enjoyed this class because I love learning about the theories. Because I want to more help people from the inside out and help them figure out what the problem is, and not just give them a solution, but help them to really find the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So the next part that they wanted us to talk about was to describe the model we just went over. So the theory and reason actions and plan behavioral model works. And then just to discuss the process and how they relate to the stages of the model. I liked how the TRA, how it was more of it wanted the people to think about what they were doing, it wasn't finding solutions, but they were more thinking of what the pros and cons were, and not just how they can fix it.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting how a person's social environment kind of influences their attitude toward the behavior, and that kind of just made me kind of think more deeper about my own life, and just about what motivates people to do stuff. Is it, people's experiences.
Okay. And I also like the. Okay. Okay, I also like the idea that this model is also helping us to understand our intentions, that our intentions really matters. Is because through intentions that a behavior can come about. So most of the time we have to take intention of the person into consideration to know the motivation behind that behavior performed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think just going off of what Jacob was saying too, I think it's interesting, the normative and the subjective norms, how that plays into this theory, and about how the person perceives how other people will think about them and stuff. I I was actually surprised how to this theory, but I think that really does have a lot to do with why people would do the things that they do. Is because of that social atmosphere. And I think we see that a lot with social media too, that even we paint pictures of what we are, what we want to be, to put out there for others to see, and we try and follow through with that.
I kind of felt a little bit what Savannah, you were saying of being a fixer. I want to fix things, and maybe that's just a guy mentality too. But sometimes I just got to step back and say, what am I doing here? The pros and cons, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I also liked how it mentioned the attitude or the outlook that you have is a great influence on if something's going to actually get done.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm in the action of doing something and I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it. So nothing ever really gets done. No behavior's changed because of my attitude. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you guys think that the model is used in these examples?
Which examples are you talking about?
Like the just the examples that it gave in the reading. Like it said because it gave a few examples of how the program worked.
Oh, so the one I didn't really, so I looked at this question. I couldn't find a ton of examples that it was talking about. Maybe I'm missing them, but the one I found was the one where they intervened within the high school and they used posters and health lectures to promote participation in physical activity. So I thought that was interesting how they attempted to, I guess through education, they attempted to shape behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one too, Jacob. The posters was something that stood out to me. I think about where I'm on campus for some of my classes. There's posters everywhere, literally everywhere, and I don't realize that I'm actually looking at them. But once I read that, I was like, you know what? I actually do know what's on some of those posters, and I've read them, thinking that I'm disregarding them, but I'm actually taking them in. And I didn't realize how much of an influence that those could have.
It's amazing how much of an input those little things have, even though we don't fully realize them all the time until after we're like, oh wait, and we think about it and more understand why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
The next part that I wanted us to go over was applying the model. And so I have a couple questions. So the first question is, what kind of interventions centered on this process move people through the stages?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess to answer this question, I just pulled up my interventions table. Like the environmental changes strategy that that's standing out to me now, just and like in the reading with all the different examples that they used for the theory of reasoned action and stuff. I think a lot of it is just changing like what surrounds people in order to change their environment. Like this one talks a lot about like having speed bumps in play areas and car seats having seat belts. Like if things are in place for people to be able to perform the desired behavior, inclined to. So I think just having those accessible makes a big difference.
Okay. I also think organizational culture activities can also help. When people attend culture, they come to learn through acts the need or the importance for them to change their behavior. Okay, so I think attending festivals will also help because through that people are being exposed to make so many things through arts and music and dance, whereby they can pick what the communication is all about. If it's about the need to change their behavior, or as Megan said, if a seat belt, they can use music and dance or arts or artifacts to teach the people about those things in order for them to have a change in behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that because I think a lot of times, cause especially we've been reading that it's important to bring in cultures and how people respond to things. And I really like that you brought up music because in a lot of different cultures, music is part of who they are. And so I like that you brought that in because it's going to help people to see what their health needs are, but in an environment that they feel secure and safe and and then the next question was discuss the examples presented in the readings. How was the model used in these examples?
I too, like Jacob, had a hard time finding where those examples are.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they listed a ton of like, I guess there were tons of examples, but they weren't really in depth at all at how it like was, you know,
Yeah, they
perceived
just
at all. I mean, like
kind of gave a
they
look.
intervened in neonatal nurses and all this other health industry stuff, but I don't know how it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that list too. I was just thinking that they were going to be like in our overview, there's always a little example of or a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if those would be only examples, just that list.
I guess I just have to read it. I guess there's one part where Syria's perceived behavior, where it's talking about mammography screenings and how, because I mean that's huge. You want to get those screenings done because that's a big thing. And they just talked about how they in their kind of analysis that they included previous barriers, previous mammography maintenance, and age as potential predictors. And then a cross-sectional survey design was utilized and administered to 2,062 currently adherent women who are due for their mammograms in 3 to 4 months. And then all theory perceived behavior variables. So I guess that's one that I kind of passed over in the readings. But I guess that's cool to see how these theories, how they're not just related to like eating better and exercising better, but it's like having people go and get those physical exams to make sure that they don't have the cancer. I had never thought about it in that way. I thought it was more like just personal health goals and fitness, but it's really just utilizing the technology that we have and avoiding things that we've detected and can easily avoid. So I like how that relates into that.
And that's an interesting thought too, because I mean, I think there's a lot of so like as far as a social environment that surrounds those screenings. Maybe there's a social environment where people don't necessarily think that they work, or maybe they just cost too much money, but in reality maybe they're free. So trying to change the social environment around those screenings would be significant, and that kind of goes into the model.
Yeah. Just a personal experience, like it wasn't until my mom's work that they offered it or encouraged it or made it mandatory. I think they just like had it available. Just like, oh, I'm at that age, and like she did have it. So it's right. It is incredible to just put it in their face in their workplace.
Mm-hmm. The next part is this scenario with Grace. Do you guys remember that, where it was with like the sugar and it was poison or wanting to poison the sugar? Yeah. So they wanted each of us to share our thoughts on each option, and then where does each option fit into the morally forbidden or morally permissible range, and then why. I thought this one was interesting because with her putting the sugar in it when it being poison, I feel like that's morally permissible because she wasn't attempting to harm her friend in any way. It was accidental. It wasn't something that was intentional. As the other one was more of an intentional thing because she knew exactly what she was doing, even though it wound up only being sugar.
I agree. That's what I went with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree because you made mention of intentions. Like in Grace scenarios, intentions really matter. And there's all other scenarios that intentions, we shouldn't like consider intention. As, as, as far as it's a murder, it's an act. And it's a murder. For this case, intention, we don't really need intention here. Because I learned through the reading that in courts, they don't use intentions in judgment when it comes to murder. So in case she's for her intentions was to poison the friend. For this one, they'll go according to the acts that was being done as a murder, not like intentions, for instance, that she thinks it's a sugar. As far as there's a murder, she'll be judged for that. But if her intentions was to give the friend sugar, and I learned from the scenario that one scenario is that what about if Grace's intention was to give the friend sugar, and somewhere the friend didn't die, she was able to become aware of that. For that one, we know that her intention was to give the friend sugar, and there was no murder as a result. But if there's a murder as a result, we go according to the murder, the act that was being done, but not the intentions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally agree with Sabina.
Yes.
It's hard to determine what one's intentions really are.
Yeah, I guess Jacob brings up a good point.
Oh, I didn't know it was poison when they did, but I was the same as probably the rest of you that I think it's permissible if she thinks it's sugar and she gives it to her friend, and that it's not like that intention's huge. But if you know that it's poison and you put it in there, even if it's sugar, it's just not right. But I mean, you can go back to the plant. Why is she even putting anything in? So is it even permissible that she is giving her friend, putting something into her friend's drink? Let her friend do that, you know?
In a hazardous area. It's the toxic place.
Leave it alone altogether. So is it altogether not right?
That is a good point.
Yeah, I guess just one thought I had too, or just going back to the intentions. I like how, like in the scriptures, Christ talks about how even if we think to commit a sin, then it's like we've already done it in our hearts too. So even if the plans don't, it is about what we're thinking. But yeah, with Grace's situation, I think Jared brings up a great point too. Like, why would we even be meddling with someone else's business in that way? And if we were, like, maybe we should be taking the sugar too. If we're taking that risk on someone else's life, then we should be willing to do it to ours versus just meddling with their life.
That is true. I like that you said, because if we're not willing to take that risk on others, I mean ourselves, why should we be willing to take that on others? Okay, so the next part that I wanted us to go over was to have us go selecting our interviews. So it was like I want to say week 4. We had to do the interview, and we just had to go to that and select which area the volunteer struggled with the most, and then whether to design an intervention driven by the model. And so do you guys have an example from one of your interviews that you can use?
So are we going through the questions and determining whether it was attitude or subjective norm or perceived behavioral control?
I think for this one, it's towards the bottom, and it asks about creating a intervention to help with the person. So if there was someone that you interviewed that's like there's a certain area that they struggled with the most, to create an intervention that helps with that. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
So we can go with one of mine if you want. So question 14 on the first part of the health interview. The question is, how would you rate your knowledge of proper nutrition and its relationship to weight management? And my interviewee said 4. So she was kind of right in the middle, I guess you'd say.
So we need to create something that gives her that more of a knowledge base.
Right. With relationship to weight, with proper nutrition and its relationship to weight management. So an intervention could be, some type of course, education, and then also that course could involve trying to follow a certain nutrition standard, and kind of analyzing how that affects their weight.
And maybe in that course, giving her ways to create nutrition plans. So showing her like calories and what she's wanting to do, like giving her the calorie deficit and kind of explaining how that works and helping her with an exercise program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jacob, this interviewee that you had, are they college students? What are they? What do they do?
They are my wife. So she's a stay-home mom.
She's a college student?
She's graduated.
So, I mean, I think when looking at an intervention, we would need to look at their environment. What is it that she does? Because if you're going to do a course, like we kind of mentioned, how would we inform somebody of a course if they're a stay-at-home mom? You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Yeah, so it would probably be kind of something like a community-based, community center-based intervention type thing, something that she could go to. Or, I mean, it could be an online course as well. But my thought is that people aren't very motivated when it's just, by themselves type thing.
Right. Yeah, I think definitely going along with that, I think just with what we're talking about, like the social, how social motivators help, that if she were to like step out of the house and attend this class and like meet different people, and then they also hold her accountable and follow up, I think that would probably just make it a great all-around experience for her to gain that knowledge and to work towards those goals, I think.
Yeah, and if it's a support thing and other people are coming, it's not, it'll be a great benefit for her, but it's also going to be there to help the other people as well. It's true. I feel support groups are the biggest way to go, because we all want to know that someone has our back and that someone's there to cheer us on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we talk about one more interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for my interviewee, there's this question that I asked, and it goes like, I believe I have the ability to eat healthy in the next 4 weeks, and said I do not.
Oh, okay.
So for this, the kind of intervention that I think is about his social background, like, because he said he do not, then it means it doesn't have the resource to eat healthy. And for that one, he's willing, but he doesn't have resource to eat healthy. That's why he said he do not. So I think social intervention will be good for him. Like there will be social groups will be available to help him, provide him with the kind of nutrition or the kind of food that he can get all the necessary nutrition for him to eat healthy. I think it will help him. What do you think?
I think definitely having a social group would help with that, as well as maybe a class that kind of, depending on the area and the environment that he's in, just finding ways
Yeah.
that maybe they can help with crops or help with maybe a small garden, something that he can do on his own to help with that resource, depending on the area where he's at. But I think having something that might seem really small, just providing that little need with a way to get that, like Chris talks about. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. And so with all these interventions, we're helping them with as a life goal. And so with your interview, I think creating that, helping him to find that environment, to whether it's finding resources in that area that help him or helping him to create those resources.
Well said. That's really good.
Yeah.
I think for his situation, he's a student, a pathway student, and he also a foreigner who is schooling here. So these ideas that we have didn't occur to him at first because one, he's a foreigner, two, he's living in the city, and the city, the apartment that he's living, it will be hardly for him to get a piece of land and cultivate some food and stuff. So I think what you said is very true. I'll consider it and let him know if he can work it out. And also, I think one other thing too is that I can help him show him the various places that he can get all those resources to be able to eat healthy. Aside him cultivating a small garden to get access to food, I can also show him the various places that he can get those resources so that he can eat healthy.
And maybe I'm not sure how it works in that area, but I know some places, if you maybe he could do, like, I don't want to say bartering, but if he helps them like manage their garden, maybe they would give him like some of the food in return. So if like he helps weed or helps plant things like that, maybe they would be willing to kind of trade resources, because maybe they don't have time or they need help, and then they're able to provide that nutrition, and then he's able to provide his hands. Does anyone have any others that they'd like to talk about, or anything else that they'd like to share from the lesson this week?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
Who would like to be the group leader next week, and get the hangout recorded and things?
I can do it.
Okay, well, I will get this turned in here probably in the next like 5 minutes. So we have that taken care of.
And then do we, sorry, before everyone takes off, next time, I haven't looked ahead very well, but next time are we meeting at the same exact time frame, 7 on Saturday?
Okay.
Has that been decided or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works
Okay.
best for me. Like, I don't know if that works for everyone, but
Okay, I'll just plan on it then.
because yeah, I don't think we need to do any earlier, right? I think we were able to. I think this works good.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Good to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone enjoy your week.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.